All right, everybody, we are live again. Dynasty Amir Search for Uhuru. And today I have a special guest all the way from Gullah country, which is Savannah, Georgia. I'm in Atlanta. And today's topic is Gullah Geechee culture Black American culture, or should it be considered African culture, or is it a hybrid of both? What is it? I know lately on this time on this platform, we've been having somewhat of a debate on what is Black American culture. And for some reason, it just me and my honest opinion, when we say just hip hop and soul food, I just think that's so surface level, me personally. And then me traveling, I see where, throughout West Africa, I see where everything that we call Black American culture, it's all originates from West Africa. So someone says we speak our own English dialect. Oh, okay, all right. But Dakely, so I'm gonna let you go ahead and jump right in. We'll go ahead and jump right into it. We have people coming to the chat. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Brother, first introduce yourself. Let everybody know who you are and where you're from and all that good stuff.
Peace and blessings to the family. Jamal Toure. We're here in Savannah, Georgia, but my roots are Savannah, Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. Yes, Black folks are still on Hilton Head. Don't get caught into all the other madness. Then we also have a museum in Riceboro, Georgia, Geechee in Riceboro, so we connect to the Riceboro. We cover the entire areas of our quarter. We bring African people together. And so that's what we do. Day Clean Journeys is our tour company, Day Clean Journeys. And we do living history. We travel wherever people want to go in the world to give African culture and history. And then we also teach at Savannah State University in the Africana Studies program. So our thing is always African. Now, what you were throwing out there, we tell folks, it doesn't matter. People do my tours, who just did on my tours today, they understood. I tell them, it's all African. You can say African American, you can say Black, you can say Gullah Geechee, but we also going to say African, because, again, we all understand what it's about. We tell folks, never let anybody compartmentalize you. When you compartmentalize, you get trapped. But when you begin to understand, it's about us making bridges, making connections from knowing other languages. When you know other languages, you make connections. When you know other cultures, you make connections. For us as African people, we can no longer let other people divide us and separate us, even with regards to nationalities. I had a sister from Jamaica today, and so the thing I told her, I said, yeah, listen, you don't know the story. Other people don't know the story about our story right here, but we got to know everybody's story. That's the power of it. And they make you think that you're not connected. So, yes, Uhuru, that's unity, freedom, coming together. That's the bottom line.
Yes, sir. Now, can you start off with a little bit in regards to the Gullah Geechee background, like the origins? From what I understand, like the Gullah Geechee are the ones that somewhat rebelled or separated themselves from, when Europeans showed up, or, refused to, I guess, integrate into American society. Can you give us the facts on that?
Well, what the Gullah Geechee people are African people, and I like how Queen Quet always put it out in the beginning, that we are the living links to Africa. We are the living links to Africa. We maintain Africa in our areas, from Jacksonville, North Carolina, down to St. Augustine, Florida. Small pockets of us there in Oklahoma, small pockets in Tejas in Texas, and then going to Nacimiento down in Mexico. But we are the people that were brought here for the knowledge of the Trinity. People say the Trinity, they think Father, Son, Holy Spirit. I said, no, cotton, rice, and indigo. Our ancestors were brought here because they had the genius in their minds. And Gullah Geechee people are not just one group of people. It's not people just from Sierra Leone. We are all African people. As people talk about deforestation, we have depopulation. From Mauritania going all the way down Western Africa, Central Africa, Southern Africa, and even smaller numbers coming from Eastern Africa. So Gullah Geechee people, you have a group of people who are brought here who have the knowledge, again, of agriculture. Those people are called the Gullah people, Gullah. And they're in Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone. And they come over here, they are brought over here. So Europeans use that one name, Gullah, on all of those people who were brought over the side. So you have the ethnic family called the Gullah. And what happened, the word Gullah got corrupted to the word Gullah. And what that was saying, I tell folks, when Europeans are saying that they have a ship full of Gullah, Africans on sale, That's like saying they got a ship full of Mercedes business on sale that can make you wealth. So again, the word got corrupted to Gullah. Then you have some other people called the Geechee people, who again, out of Cote d'Ivoire, out of Liberia, who are right there. They are brought over here, and that's like saying when they had the advertise that they got some people call them Keesee. The Keesee people, Geechee Africans, that's like saying they got a ship full of Rolls Royces on sale that can generate wealth for you. That word Geechee got corrupted to Geechee. So, and people try to say that you're Gullah if you're in South Carolina, Geechee if you're in Georgia. We say no, we say Gullah Geechee. We're on both sides of the water. We're in North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, and Georgia. And so our ancestors are the ones who are right here. You know why we're right here? We're making the wealth for everybody. We are the human assets in the human machines. We are, in fact, the colony of South Carolina in the 1600s and 1700s was majority black. So you have a proliferation of black folks, African people all along here. So our people are maintaining because they got a constant infusion of Africa here. Yeah, you know what I say, constant infusion. Even when they say 1808 that they banned bringing Africans into the United States, guess what? 1819, 1821, 1830s, they're still bringing Africans into Savannah, Georgia, the ports in Savannah, Georgia, up to the 1830s. Then later on, we know what happened down on Jekyll Island. They bring a ship 1858 here. So they have still been smuggling Africans. Amelia Island, which is the southern part of the Gullah Geechee area, that is the northern Florida area, they were smuggling through Amelia Island coming up here. So what I tell folks, what happens for us, unlike other people, they disconnect from Africa. They begin to have that disjointedness. Our people got that constant influx of Africa right here. And so we are able to maintain some of that. We're able to hold on to some of that. So it's not that we're better than anybody else. It's just that we are the ones, they bring a proliferation of us here to this area. And guess what? They maintain it. We say that we are God's anointed people. We understand, we say straight up. I tell folks, we are the Uku Chukwu, the children of God. And so a lot of times folks here goes his brother in Savannah, Georgia, saying Uku Chukwu. They're like, wait a minute. What's it? That's like children of God. That's like Igbo. Yeah, our language is tied to African languages. That when we crack a teeth like this year, guess what? Somebody in Sierra Leone who speaks Creole, they know what we said. Somebody in Liberia know what we said. So that's why you say our language, Gullah, the Gullah language, is the only African-based language in the United States. It's not, there ain't nobody in New Orleans talking about Creole, that ain't it. It is Gullah. It's the only African-based language. We have a child that's born out of us. Some people call it African Seminole language, but still, yeah, it's the Gullah framework.
Let me ask you this. Art forms like jazz, hip hop, soul food. Would you consider that Black American culture or more African culture?
It's African. It's Africa manifested in Americas. See, I tell folks, you can't disconnect yourself. When you disconnect yourself, they then steal your birthright. For example, I tell folks this, in Savannah, we have a dish we call red rice. You go to West Africa, they call it jollof rice or jollof rice. And I had a gentleman on one of my journeys, and we went by a place and I let him sample some red rice. And he sampled it. He's from Nigeria. He said, we fix our jollof rice with tomato paste and rice. How do y'all fix your red rice? I said, we fix our red rice with tomato paste and rice. So that brother, when he hears that, he's not making a connection. Had folks from Cameroon, took them with me. We went, they saw fish, they saw the fried fish, they saw the chicken, they saw the collard greens, all that. They said, this is our food right here. So what we got to understand, it is Africa still alive with us. We cannot disconnect from that. Of course, we're going to modify it because we're not in the Americas. And as I tell people in my class at Savannah State, you have continental Africans and intercontinental Africans. And so we are part of the diaspora. In Creole, we say diaspora. We're part of the diaspora. We're the seeds of Africa. So it's going to be with us because our roots are still tied back to Africa. So no matter, we talk about jazz, we talk, I'm going to do this right here.
Go ahead.
Now, some people know that that's done right here. That is called the ring shout. The ring shout, that counterclockwise movement, and when we do that rhythm is called the shout. The shout is called the oldest African rhythm in the United States. We don't go say Black American rhythm, we say African rhythm. The ring shout, that counterclockwise movement that we do, we call that the oldest African performance tradition in the country. We're not saying it's the Black American. That's why I'm saying when we say that, we're trying to stop ourselves from dealing with our humanity. When we deal with Africa, we deal with our humanity, and some of us going to say our Africanity. That's the foundation. That guess what? The tree that just gets started from a branch, the tree came from the roots, and the roots go back to Africa.
Brother, and the reason why this, I guess, really this topic came up is because me personally, all the Black American, well, African Americans, Black Americans, you know, so we don't get.
You can say African. You can say African with me. We don't sweat that.
Okay. The African Americans who went back to Africa, okay, for the most part, all the ones I know have integrated into African society. Then you have some here in America are saying that, hey, we don't want to integrate into African society because we don't want to, I guess, lose our Black American culture. And I say, okay, when you say Black American culture, what are you talking about? And the only thing I can get is hip hop and soul food. Like, do you think a lot of this has to do with ego, or like what's the cause of this? Because I'm like, okay, hip hop and soul food. Really, hip hop, we don't control the distribution of it. We really don't control hip hop at all. And then we know where soul food came about. So I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, this stuff is psychological. In my classes, and I talk about this at times, there's an African proverb that says, the hunter will always be the hero of the story until the lion has a historian. The hunter will always be the hero of the story until the lion has a historian. So what that's doing, when some of my people hit that, they're like, wait a minute. I said, right, what's been going on? You've been buying into the story of the hunter. You're not asserting your story. You're the lion. And so when we're going to say that, what's going on is that you got people being disconnected. This society has always been trying to disconnect African people from who they are. And when they know they disconnect you, guess what? You have a gap in the middle. And when you have that gap in the middle, then you have some gook that's thrown in the middle to give you a false reality. So as long as I make sure you got that false reality, then you never will compete against me. You will never be able to handle me. That's why I tell folks, I have third graders who know more about history and culture than the experts on history and culture. You know why? Because they're not connected to their Africanity, their humanity. They know the fullness of their story. So when you even say, what is Black American culture? You say hip-hop. What? Wait a minute. You're gonna tell me you're gonna ignore about engineering, mathematics? So right then and there, that's why I say it minimizes you. That's why I tell we don't waste our time with folks who don't want to grasp the understanding, the fullness. But there are several people now. I had to beg to differ with you. There are a whole bunch of Black folks in the United States who identify with Africa and love Africa. They understand it. The ones who go and say the stuff, when they disconnect from it, those are the ones that you got to still plant the seeds with, but you got a whole segment of folks who are out there, because I see it on my tours, in my presentations, the folks who go and understand, they begin to embrace some of it. That, again, some don't want to identify with it, but those are the ones that we can still work on, but if they truly don't want to identify with it, that's on them. That's the loss. We know who we are. So, yes, a whole bunch of us identify with it, and Africa lives within us. We say Africa vive. Africa lives. Because, again, we will not be here if it was not for Africa. And hip-hop, soul food, as African cooking. I had interned in D.C. at People for the American Way. And when I was in D.C., I nyam. I say nyam. Guess what? Somebody going to say nyam? We say nyam. That means to eat in Gullah. That's N-Y-A-M. Go to Jamaica, some people say nyam. People in Guyana say nyam. People in Panama say nyam and go, which means eat and go away. And I nyam boneless ham. I tell you, I love to eat boneless ham. I used to eat boneless ham every day in D.C. And then I asked you, I said, what is boneless ham? They're like, ham without a bone. I said, no, it's Hilton Head Gullah, watermelon. Mm-hmm. You're like, watermelon? I'm like, yeah. Then I say, you see Goober also. And I see y'all familiar with Goober? They're like, no. I say, you anglicize it here, call it Goober, chocolate-covered peanuts. So I say African cooking is American cuisine, low country cuisine, Southern cuisine. That's why I say that's not Black American culture. That's all African. It all goes back to Africa. Why would you give up your birthright? That's my thing. It is insane to give up your birthright when people stealing your culture from you. So again, you're gonna say, wait a minute, just music, just regard to cooking. Guess what? Every day in our lives, and I'm saying as Africans in the United States, we can see Africa around us. You know why? Something simple as a porch. Porches come from Africa. Europeans didn't have porches. Africans had porches. We call verandas in the United States, in the Caribbean, and even in Africa. So guess what? So you can go say that's Black American culture, the porch. But then what's the origins of it? The veranda is for fellowship and communalism. Yo, that's our story. That's our humanity. We are the living links to Africa, but not just one part of us, all of us. We have connections back to Africa. We got to embrace that.
Now, how has the Gullah people been received by the actual African continent? Because a lot of people, especially African Americans, will say, well, you know, we don't identify really with Africa because Africa didn't send any rescue boats to us, for us during slavery. So as far as the Gullah who have been able to preserve a lot of their African culture without actually, I guess, really being, I would say, physically connected to Africa, now that we have the technology to connect back to Africa, how have you been received by the continent?
The folks on the continent who have understanding, they embrace it because you got documentaries that's right out there. People going to see. One is called The Language We Cry In, all the language we cry in. The other one's called Family Across the Sea, where you're going to see Gullah Geechee people from this area right here who go back to Africa. And again, they understand the connection. So people on the continent understanding the connection over here and our connection to them. And then what is the oldest African song in the United States? Is a song that goes, Awaka Mama Na Kambe, Yalile Tambe, which is Mende for everyone come together. Let us work hard. The grave is not yet finished. So that's a part of a story of an African woman who sings it right here in coastal Georgia, Harris Neck, Georgia, that was recorded by Lorenzo Dow Turner, the father of Gullah Studies. Then it's connected to folks in a village in Sierra Leone that was sung by the women there. So they embrace that right there. So African people who got understanding, we all embrace one another without a problem. Of course, we're going to have the small numbers of us that might say something that's kind of stupid. But again, no. And then people say they didn't send boats. Now, this is what I just told some people on my tour I had earlier today. I told a sister, I said, check this out. Y'all going to say that Africans sold us into captivity. That was something. This was a sister. She's from the Caribbean. She said that people going to say that. But, you know, she loves Africans. She loves African people. Because, again, there ain't no issue with that. But she said, but Jamal, they're going to say that Africans sold us into captivity. I said, yo, check this out. More Africans actually died to prevent you from being put in captivity that sold Africans into captivity. So I throw this out to my people here in my class at Savannah. I say, well, I asked in the class, I do a poll in my class. I say, how many of y'all sell drugs in the class? And they look at me like, what? I said, raise your hand. How many of y'all sell drugs? And maybe out of class of 85, like one person might raise their hand. I said, no, you're lying because they say all y'all sell drugs. Then they look, they say, no, it's not. I said, no. Just like when you go and say Africans sold black folks into captivity, Africans into captivity, that's the same type of language, the same type of psychology that they got going on. So I said more people died to prevent you from being put in captivity than they were sold you into captivity. So we got to understand that. Don't go with somebody else's narrative. Don't go with the narrative of the story from the hunter. Be the lion now and tell your own part of the story. So yeah, so Africans who going to say, well, they didn't send boats. Guess what? What was happening on the African continent at this time? Colonization. So they're coming at both of us. So that's what the whole deal is. See, when people on the continent say some of the stuff, they've been colonized by folks also. People in the Americas, we've been colonized by them. We've been tortured right here in the Americas with the Mafia, with the Great Disaster. So that's what the whole deal is that they hit us on the continent and they hit us in the Americas. So then that way we always be fractionalized, as I say, fractionalized and marginalized. That's why we got to have Uhuru. We got to have Umoja. We got to have that unity.
Thank you, brother. Guys, let's get these likes up. We have 177 people watching, only 44 likes. Please hit that like button as you come to the chat room. Now, brother Toure, there's this movement of people who consider themselves to be indigenous, Choctaw, Chickasaw, the Black Indians.
Yamasee, all that, yeah.
Yeah. Who are saying that basically the story that you're sharing is a lie. Like you would be lying. Like you don't have any proof that where the Gullah originate from, and that this is a FBI, CIA plot to keep us from, I guess, owning our lands here in America because we're indigenous to this country. Do you deal with people like this? Like, I mean, like for example, I went to Mobile, Alabama, to Africa Town about 3-4 weeks ago.
Right. Saw it.
And visited the burial site of Cujo Lewis.
Right.
He was on Clotilda. Right. You know, you have people saying that that's a hoax. Like, what would you say to people who think like this?
That's an insult to my ancestors. In fact, I wrote a piece about that. I put that out there. That's an insult to my ancestors. The stuff that they had to endure right here in this nation, the things they had to endure coming across the water, and what they had to endure on the continent, that's madness. And see, now I have to throw this out there. My personal beliefs, I'm Muslim. But my Muslim is an African Muslim. And that's why, so again, and I embrace all. We embrace Christianity, traditional spirituality. We do all that because I make sure people understand. So I'm going to throw this out there. Guess what? With the Nation of Islam, when they create their mythology, the Nation of Islam, some of them scoffed at the Nation of Islam, brushed them off, said that's talking about Alfonso, the jet black man, and Baby G. All that is just a newfangled version of that. So, and I tell folks, I say, you know why they do that? You are the ones that call about the FBI and the CIA plots because you are part of an internet hoax on you. Just like Willie Lynch, John Hanson, that's all those internet hosts.
John Hanson.
And so I'm saying it's the same thing. So people say, we're the Yamasee, all this. Why you got to steal somebody else's birthright? We ain't got to steal anybody else's birthright because our birthright, that we're the first of all humankind on this planet. We are the children of God. We are the first ones on this planet. We ain't got to steal nobody's birthright over here. And so guess what? The only black folks that I know that say that type of stuff are the ones who are in the United States. More black folks are in the Caribbean, in Brazil. Ain't nobody in Brazil saying that type of stuff, but black folks in the United States who are caught up into this internet madness. That's what internet has got us messed up. And so that's why, yes, we deal with them, and I put it in their face. You're not going to insult my ancestors that were brought over here, that we have the documentation, because it's all in the DNA. It's in the fabric of where we live and who we are. You're going to tell us Gullah Geechee people? I say, hey, listen, if other black folks in the United States want to say that foolishness, guess what? No Gullah Geechee people need to be saying that. And we don't get covered to somebody else's narrative. That's why we keep imploring. Nobody else's narrative will tell us who we are. Nobody else will tell you your greatness. You must speak about your greatness. So you got somebody on the internet telling you some craziness like this? Come on now, stop it. Excuse me, let me go and say this. What that is a form of self-hatred. Because they don't like themselves, they can't handle the fact about what their ancestors endured. See, some of us understand that goes to show you the toughness and adaptability of African people. Our ancestors are the Mafa. You can't make this stuff up. That's insanity. That's like somebody saying about the Holocaust doesn't exist. Guess what? You got them out there, and then it's shameful when you got Negroes who are saying the same thing. That's why I say they ain't African, they're Negroes. Anybody who knows Jamal Toure know that Jamal straight up like that, because I'm a J-Lay. I put it in your face. If you don't like it, that's on you. But again, that's madness, brother.
Now, brother, somebody in the chat room asked, why are you Muslim? Now, I know Islam was present in Africa before, I guess, Europeans showed up. And a lot of the slaves, some of the slaves are actually Muslims who came over here. Go ahead.
Right. The numbers going to tell you. Some conservatives going to say 1 out of 4, 1 out of 3, 1 out of 5, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 3 Africans brought over here were African Muslims. Because that's why, again, now let me go and give them the information too about this right here. Gullah Geechee culture, our language, the Gullah language, the first time it's ever written is written in Savannah, Georgia, written by a captive African by the name of London. And he wrote the Gospel of John and the Gospel hymns in Gullah. Gospel of John and Gospel hymns in Gullah. And when he wrote it in Gullah, guess what? He wrote it in English. Yes, he wrote it in English. So here go London. So that's why some people realize, oh, wait a minute, he's African Muslim. Then look at Omar Ibn Said, that was in Charleston, South Carolina, a part of Denmark and Vesey conspiracy. Denmark Vesey conspiracy was about freeing Africans in Charleston, South Carolina. But the plan is at Emmanuel AME Church. Then, guess what? Omar Ibn Said, the only slave narrative that they call the slave narrative that's written by Africans in Arabic is written by Omar Ibn Said. So again, this is a part of who we are. See, we don't have no hang-ups about us. We just like Bolkman. Bolkman, who was in IET, that's what, when they gathered in the Gate to Woods and Brockhamer, it was traditional believers, it was the papists or the Papists that y'all call Catholics, and then you had the Mali, who were African Muslims, all gathered right there. And that's why when they're there and they get to wars, they understand that they got one common thing. They're Most High and they're Africanness. So that's why for me, when I'm Muslim, people think about Muslim, they think, oh, that's something that came like later on. Guess what? Judaism, Al-Islam, Christianity, Sabianism, all tied to the African continent. So people going to look, oh, that's something from the Arabs. No, we ain't focused on no Arabs. That's still all tied to Africa.
I was about to ask you that. Do you think, how do you feel it? Do you think it's an Arab religion? I mean, me personally, I do. And I just hate, especially Hajj is coming up, that we're going to have poor black Muslims, especially in West Africa, all over Africa, who are going to go to Hajj and put billions of dollars into the Saudi Arabian economy, who in these Saudis hate black people. That's just how.
But then now, guess what? But you travel the continent. You know about, what about Tuba?
I've been to Tuba. You know, I go to Tuba every week.
That's right. So I'm saying,
I tell the Muslims, come do your Hajj in Tuba. Like, come to Tuba.
Right. So, yeah, so that's what I'm saying. And that's what we're saying. When you got understanding, you know what to do. Say, I'm in the Baba Baka. So, again, and then guess what? And now, and when we're going to talk about it, they don't want to discuss this right here because Europeans don't give you this type of history. That African Muslims on the Western Africa, they made it a capital punishment to bring captive Africans to their territories. That's why Europeans had to use other black folks. That's why they had to use Africans on the continent, because they say capital punishment, kill them on the spot if they bring captive people through here. See, again, our story it's a large, voluminous story that we have. So for me, it's all tied to Africa. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you're a Nazarene, if you're Christian. Guess what? Go with the African Christianity. If you're a Jew, you follow Judaism, go with the African aspect of the Hebrew spirituality, because we're going to say the ancient Hebrews are Africans. We understand that. If you're Muslim, then you go with the African perspective. You Sabianist, then you go with definitely the African perspective, because again, Queen of Sheba, Belkis, we know that's the Sabianist spirituality. So whatever you do in any traditional spiritualities, we all down with that, because we see the connection. We talk about, again, when you have an understanding of your story, you don't see any difference. You understand that we walk into the house of God through many doors. And if somebody know anything, if I say uku chukwu, then guess what? Then you know I'm speaking another language tied to African people that talk about God. You think I'm saying Nyame? Of course we say Nyame. If somebody say Olodumare, we all relate to one another. It's only other people separating us. So you go with whatever help that's for you spiritually, personally, what's good for you. I go speak in churches all the time, and none of the people in the churches say anything about what I'm saying, because I'm speaking the universal truth of the Most High. So again, I tell people, only Westerners get caught up in that stuff and stuff. And I tell people this straight up. Black folks who are Christians got to stop fighting the Crusades. Yeah. Stop fighting the Crusades. Because the Crusades it was European Christians attacking, coming down into what we know as Northeast Africa. Oh my God, what did you just say, Jamal? Northeast Africa. They call it the Middle East, but it's Africa. And we got to rightfully take our places back. Anything that's tied to us, we must take it back. I just give it to people straight up. Anything that's tied to Africa, we must claim it for ourselves and put it out there and not be ashamed of it. Because again, it doesn't matter if a person following, if they voodoo, good, cool. If they practice Ifa, good. If they practice Santeria here, or Candomblé, or Batuk, guess what? Good. Because we all gonna say, Egwe Pele. Good conduct, good character, good speech. We say it in various ways, in various languages. And that's why I say, if you understand other languages, you make connection. And we say what we say about Al-Islam, we say Dina Fita. But guess what? The way of nature. So guess what? Anybody got any understanding? You see the connection. Don't let Europeans separate you.
Now, brother, you're a Muslim, but you accept African spirituality.
Of course.
But you don't understand that a lot of these African and Black American, whatever you want to call it, Christians and Muslims,
understand it. Yes, we understand. Go ahead.
I'm
sorry.
To completely renounce it. Why is that?
You said that they renounce.
Yeah, for the most part, renounce it. Absolutely.
Well, I keep saying it's about deconstructing you. I gotta make you separate from who you are. I need you to be a leaf in the wind as opposed to being the tree. That's why I say, again, on my tours, when people do my tours, they begin to see how we make connections. Like I talk about the Puno people who go and talk about our mothers when they pass away, they go back into the water, and they become protectors of the family. People, when they hear that, it doesn't matter what their spiritual beliefs are, they're like, yeah. They identify with that. Then when I talk about the Congo cosmogram, the 10 ends of Congo, and I talk about crossing over the water, yeah. Or when I talk about baptism, that for us, for many of us, for the baptism, we didn't want to get baptized inside and pool inside the church. We want to get baptized inside the creek, the ocean, the bay, the river, the marsh, lake, or the pond. Why is that? Because over here, our ancestors say when the ebb tide will flood after the baptism, it's carrying their sins away. And I tell folks, guess what? That goes back to Africa. So when I say that, guess what? They be like, wow. I say in Africa, we don't do it one time in our life. We do it annually. So again, now it's begin. And so what we got to do, we got to put it out there. If somebody don't have the knowledge, we got to share the knowledge with them. And then really, and if they reject you at that moment, still go ahead and plant the seed in them. But later on, they would germinate. They would get some water, get some sunlight. It'd be nurtured, and then it'll pop up. Then they realize, say, you know what? I appreciate you planting that seed in me. So that's why some of our people, we've been denatured, deconstructed. We understand what is this about? Oppression. That's how oppressive system functions. Well, I share this in my classes also. I said that there's an African proverb, it's tied to Africa, but some people say it's tied to something else. We said that you know the condition of society based on the condition of the women. So I asked folks, I say, what's the condition of women here in this society? And some get some fools out there, they're doing things. Overall, women are oppressing the society. So that means we have an oppressive society. And then people look at me like, what? I say, are not black people getting shot down? Who's impoverished here? So, yeah, so what we're looking at, brother, when they come at you like that, when they don't want to identify all other stuff, it's because they have psychologically been denatured. They've been attacked. But there's one man who traveled to Africa and the Caribbean. He's called the father of liberation theology. He preached a sermon in the 1800s. He said, God is a Negro, or basically God is an African. And he also said that all races on this planet identify God with themselves except for the Negro. He said, long as the Negro think that God is white, they should always think that the devil is black and think that they favor the devil. His name is Bishop Henry McNeil Turner, and he's called the father of liberation theology. So when you talk about Pan-Africanism, we all got, because basically, I guess I'll let you know, I'm a Pan-Africanist also. And so we all understand about the power of Bishop Turner. And so he preached that in the 1800s and 1900s. To let people understand, you better identify your most high with yourself. And so that's why, with some of them not identifying, not understand it. Because here, I guess I got to give you some American history for people who are listening. American history, some of your ancestors, some of the black folks, your ancestors, when they were holding church services on Sundays, they were always praying to God. They were praying to the folks who held them in captivity. We don't even realize that. Sometimes they had to pray to them when they were in captivity on Sundays. And then guess what happened? When some of them got their freedom, they were still identifying God with them. They just transferred it on to this other thing. That's why Turner came along and preached a sermon in the 1800s saying God was an African and God was a Negro. So the people today who spit that type of stuff out, don't want to identify, they are still caught up into what was going on. They still found the dreams of somebody, or excuse me, the nightmares of somebody else when they're not trying to control black minds.
Brother, now, as far as Gullah Geechee, the nation, Gullah Geechee country, are you guys being affected? Are you guys being affected by gentrification, and how are you guys battling against that?
Absolutely. Gentrification is happening across the entire country. Yes, we're doing the same thing too. And I'm so glad you brought that up, because I tell folks this. What happened, they compartmentalize us so bad that we think that issues are happening to each one of us individually. Not understanding that they come at all our communities. And because we don't talk to one another, that's why I say we don't make those connections. Then they come at us and they use a template. That was sometimes developers or destructionists, as Queen Quet was going to say destruction meant, that they use a template on us. They call it best practices. So guess what? They use a template on each one of us coming at each one of our cities, and we never talk to each other, black folks, because we think we're so separate. So Gullah Geechee areas have always been hit. Rural areas, coastal areas, island areas, the cities, all of us, just like, guess what? Over the Rhine in Cincinnati, it's pretty much been gentrified. That's a black neighborhood. They're moving in there. Harlem is no longer majority black. Savannah, they come into our neighborhoods right here, our communities right, Gullah Geechee communities right here. Hilton Head, that attack Hilton Head, but all Hilton Head is just the same story of everybody. Detroit, I tell folks, they make Detroit look bad intentionally so they can go in there and buy the land, because when they make the place look bad.
Listen, not to cut you off, they're doing the same thing in Baltimore.
Oh yes, I'm saying yes. I talk to people. I talk to people around the country. When I have people on my tours and my presentation, everybody starts saying, Jamal, it's the same thing. Well, I have to share this. There are three things that affect black communities. public housing developments, interstate highway system, and integration. And basically, with the interstate highway system, they wiped out black communities, like parts of communities in Macon, Atlanta. I-94 wiped out a community in St. Paul, Minnesota, the Rhonda community. So they wipe them out, and then guess what? Later on, they want to start coming back into those areas because those areas are now becoming tourist areas. And so they want to be inside the tourist areas, so they don't want to drive an hour outside the city, come back into the city. And so they begin gentrifying. And then you also have universities and colleges that are doing the same thing. Temple University, Villanova, you got Columbia, New York, all Johnson Wales University. They're all doing the same. They use the same template against us, but we don't talk to one another.
So with that being said, obviously, from what it seems, we will always be second-class citizens. In some places, we're fifth and sixth class. Should the Black or the African in America focus on relocating back to Africa, or at least having the African plan, or at least developing a nation of our own?
I have to go and say this. It is not by happenstance or by accident that we are here in the United States or in the Americas. Okay. And because of that, because of our ancestors who survived and thrived and maintained through the Biafra, the great disaster, the African Holocaust, for us to be here, guess what? We can share this land right here also. We can share this land right here and there. And for the drive for some of us is that it's not about being second-class citizens, that we understand that this is part of our birthright also right now because of our ancestors' sweat equity. Sweat equity is entitles us to have this right here. The wealth of this world came from here and then also came from the African continent. So what we need to do, we must be like Du Bois said, we must have the duality. That if those who want to be right here in the U.S., that's cool. But then also we must embrace Mother Africa. That's why our museum, Geechee in Riceboro, Georgia, our museum, the founders specifically had factories in Burkina Faso and Ouagadougou, had schools there also because they understood. They said that they realized something that they saw the nation. They saw Muhammad speak papers when they saw the hands stretched out over the seas connecting to Africa. That inspired them to do that. So that's what we must do. We must have that duality. Some of us may be right here on the continent. Some of us may be in the United States, in the Americas. It ain't nothing wrong. We don't need to fight one another about. We must support one another in those endeavors. We need to have import, export with one another. With us. We need to have economics develop with us because again, we know how rich the continent is. And is it not good for us to invest in our own? Because other people do it. They're doing it right now on the continent. So guess what? And African Americans don't realize that they are sometimes viewed as being the big brothers of African people in the Americas and at home on the continent. So that means that we need to use our service to help build each one of our areas. I guess I say again, I'm Pan-African. I believe in unity of all African people.
Okay. Everyone, make sure you hit that like button in the chat room. We have 234 people watching, only 107 likes. And also, if you want to call in and ask a question, the email is in the chat room. Please send me an email and I will send you the link and you can ask your question. So with that being said, what do you see? What is the future?
Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem, no problem.
You said what's the future?
Yeah, as far as the Black man, African, same difference here. Black man, African man, and woman here in America. How do you think this is supposed to play out? It's going to play out. So they're saying by the year 2053, our net worth is going to be zero. You see what's going on as far as gentrification. You know, I'm shocked, but I'm not shocked. Here in Atlanta, only 25% of the homes here in Atlanta of the real estate is owned by Black people. Like, yeah, I'm shocked, but I'm not shocked. So what is the end game for Black people here in America?
Well, I tell folks this. Whenever somebody gives you stats, they give you stats for two reasons. One, to let things maintain itself the same course, or you get the stats that not develop the solutions to change it. So that's why I go and say, what is the course of African people here? We're supposed to not, when we know information like that, we're supposed to not work to stymie that right there and not create a solution that's going to be beneficial for us. And so that's what we do as citizens. That's all the work that we do. We are working to make sure that our children and that our ancestors are able to smile on our labor right here, to bring about a change right here. Ultimately, I believe in liberation. That's what it's about. It's about us having liberation of the mind, of our hearts, of our souls, of our physical being, so that way we will be the ones. Oh, I guess I need to go back in time. what happened in 1865 when Africans now got their freedom here, in particular here in Georgia, and coastal Georgia in particular. Our ancestors said they know for a fact that we're going to be the richest people in this country right here. And they said the reason why we will be the richest people because we know how to work. They said the Buckra, I just said Buckra. That is a Gullah word that stands for European or Caucasian. In Jamaica, in Jamaica, Guyana, Belize, Barbados, Suriname, they say Bakra. That word comes from Africa where they say Mbakara. And I tell folks again, see how the African language lives with us, the Gullah language. But our ancestors said that Africans, we know how to work. They said the Buckra, them lazy. They don't know how to work. They don't want to work. So they have said that we'll be the richest people on this planet. I mean, in this country right here. So guess what? That's supposed to be our destiny with regard to that. Of course, I know that Jim Crow, the black codes, and all the racism has come into play to stymie that. But guess what? You have survived the Mafa. You have survived, your ancestors survived the Mafa for you to be here. I tell people just like this. Guess what? When they went into a village, took out a family of 10 out of a village in the continent of Africa, 7 out of 10 will die on the march from the hinterlands to the coast. Then and they got them inside the factories right there. Then 1 or 2 are going to die in the middle passage. So I tell folks, if you see somebody of African descent in the Americas, that means at least one of their ancestors survived. Only the best of the best survive, and too few black folks in the Americas understand they are descendants of the best of the best. When you understand it, you carry yourself differently, treat each other differently, and expect more from yourself and from your brothers and sisters. So for me, that's what it's about for me, that we're going to make it happen. We're going to make it work with regard to this right here. We ain't about to give up on this right here because it's part of our destiny, our manifest destiny for us right here in the United States, in the Americas, and at home on the continent. And we can stymie it right now because you got the stats. So if only 25% black home ownership of land ownership in Atlanta, then that means that you got to develop strategies to not get more ownership of the properties. We don't just sit back and let the stats go. Oh, excuse me. Some people let the stats just run its course. We say, no, we get the stats. And when it's negative to us, we didn't find the solution, create the solutions for that. We got to make a change.
Someone in the chat room was asking, are you familiar with the South Carolina exodus or Liberian exodus from South Carolina? Or I guess the exodus from South Carolina to Liberia. Are you familiar with that?
See, now, why they going to do me like that? Why they going to do me like that? Why they going to do me like this? I told you I said I'm a JLA, right? And some people know what a JLA is. A JLA, people use the word wrong. They call people a griot. A griot is a French word. We never call people chronicle our history griots. And now they make griots a storyteller. We just call them JLAs, Jolly Musos, Wells. And so I'm quite aware of the movement of Africans out, not just South Carolina, throughout the entire United States. And so now I'll give you some background, something right here. Savannah, Georgia, in the 1800s, Savannah, Georgia, there were ships leaving out of Savannah, Georgia, going to Liberia. One of the people leaving from Savannah, Georgia, going to Liberia, his name is Samuel Benedict. And he wrote to African Charleston in Charleston, South Carolina in 1800. He said, I'm going to Africa because that's our rightful inheritance. And he would get to Liberia, and he would become president of the Constitutional Convention in Liberia. And guess what happened? I tell people this. Guess what? What is Independence Day in July? Most people say July 4th. I said, no, it's July 26th. And why is that? Because on July 26, 1847, the second oldest black nation in the world was born, Liberia. And guess who declared Liberia's independence on July 26? Samuel Benedict from Savannah, Georgia. And he went to a place in Liberia called New Georgia that had a place called Savannah. In fact, the second oldest town in Liberia one time was called Savannah, located in New Georgia. So Africans left out of South Carolina. And one of the people who left out of South Carolina, his name is James Screbbing Smith, who became one of the presidents of Liberia. So, yeah, we intimately know about that. We know about the Africans leaving out of North Carolina, South Carolina, all over from Florida, going to Liberia. And now they became some of the leaders of that nation became known as Liberia. Now, we know there were some issues that happened in Liberia. We know that, but I got to give mad props to Samuel Benedict because he's my homeboy right here from Savannah, Georgia. And he became one of the founding fathers of Liberia, July 26th. In fact, tell you about how black folks in the United States used to be. At one time, black folks in the U.S. used to celebrate Liberia's Independence Day on July 26th. Yes. And at our museum, Geechee in the Riceburg, we still celebrate Liberia's independence. But at one time, right here in Savannah, for example, used to have parades in Forsyth Park in Savannah celebrating Liberia's independence. That's why I talk about when you disconnect from yourself, guess what? Something you think that's newfangled, guess what? He's been doing it for a long time. Connect black man, black woman, African man, African woman.
So why is Liberia so demonized? Like we speak on the accomplishments that we were able to do. And one of them, I think one of the biggest accomplishments that the African American was to accomplish was Liberia. But we've been taught to demonize what happened in Liberia. Like why is that?
Well, you know what? Part of it,
and not to cut you off, and not to cut. I'm sorry to cut you off. Even this so-called the ADOS, you know, American descendants of slaves, they refuse to acknowledge Liberia. I'm like, Liberia is one of the biggest accomplishments that we have on record, but we demonize it and don't want to, and want nothing to do with it, which is crazy to me.
And you know, and it's a roundabout with regard to the self-hatred issues and other stuff that occur. Because we know that when folks, some of them got to Liberia, a whole bunch when they got to Liberia, the same oppression that they experienced in the United States, they went and did it to Africans on the continent in Liberia. They went and did the same things. For some people, they have that degree of shame with regard to that because, again, when now in Liberia in the 1900s, they got Africans on the plantations for Firestone tie and stuff like that, which, again, was ungodly, that here go black folks doing that to other black folks, and they're descent, or they call the Americo-Liberians, how they discriminate against the Africans from the continent who from in Liberia, that they force them to now take on English names, European names, force them to speak English solely, that if they didn't speak English, then again, they're going to be discriminated against. So for some people, that's a part of the issue that goes on. And then also, then we begin to look at, again, how we begin to function with regards to our own ancestry, because we don't want to focus on that, hey, people left here and went to Liberia and became oppressors. For some people, that's what it's about. They don't want to focus on that. We talk about some of the the most corrupt election occurred in Liberia in the 1900s. And so again, people look at some of that and they don't feel good about it. But yes, but there are things that we should applaud, because I tell you this, when we look at elements of the Garvey movement, Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, the movement right there, you have people inspired to now go to Liberia and do things in Liberia tied to that. Again, going back to Africa, Africa for the Africans. And in fact, another tie to Savannah, Georgia, is that there was a husband and wife physician team, Dr. Cornelius McCain and Dr. Alex McCain, husband and wife physician team. They started a black hospital and nursing school in Savannah, Georgia. But then also, as I tell folks, that hospital and nursing school was also international. They also started a hospital in Monrovia, Liberia, and nursing school in Monrovia, Liberia. So here it is, black folks here in Savannah, leave from here and then have a hospital and nursing school in Liberia, also Monrovia, Liberia. So it's international. So again, when you say accomplishment, we have accomplishments that we don't realize, we don't talk about, and then we let other people, as I said, direct us on how we sort of think about who we are. And so that's why, again, we have people part of organizations, they don't look at the fullness of the story. Because I tell folks, what other city in the United States had a hospital in Africa that was founded by two black people, two black doctors? Only Savannah, Georgia. So if you don't know stuff like that, you're like, hey, there ain't nothing to it. That's why I, on the other hand, because I know my story, I'm going to give you the fullness of it, so you have the greatness of who we are. I'm saying that's the stuff that we come from. That's in the tapestry. That's in the fabric of who we are. So, yeah, we need to be proud about Liberia, just like Haiti. Haiti and Liberia, two nations we need to be proud of. But guess what? Both of them get demonized. And it's not by accident. It is intentional. Haiti is the mother of all of us right here. Black folks in the U.S. would not have gotten their freedom if it was not for Haiti. Oh, and guess who said that? Frederick Douglass in the 1800s. He said it was not the Caucasian, not the Buckler abolitionists. He said Haiti, what Haiti did more for us to get our freedom in the U.S. than any of them. So guess what? Haiti, we say, yeah, Mother Haiti.
Now, from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, the reason why, as far as Liberia, the reason why Liberia somewhat ended up the way it did is because when the Africans who were returning, the African Americans, there were Africans on the continent who were still participating in the slave trade. And that's why things just kind of got off on the wrong foot. How do you feel about that narrative?
That's an element, because again, we got a few people, there were some of those who were still involved in that, and that's why Liberia would be a port to prevent that from happening, just like Sierra Leone would be the one on the British side. But not all of them, but then we know that they also engage in oppression of other people, like with the crew, you know, the Kron, you know, you know, all of it. So again, we see black folks going back there, and some of them. I have to go and say this. Some of them did not do it. That's why I say some people did not do it. One of them who was not involved in the oppression was Samuel Benedict, because he didn't fall within the category of some of the other ones like Joseph Jenkins and Joseph Robinson and all of them. But then here go Benedict and others. They're still in Liberia, but they still have a society where people are being oppressed. So, but you're correct that some were engaging in the captivity of human beings, but then that wasn't everybody. But then there was massive oppression. So yeah, but you're correct.
Okay. Yeah, we have. We're waiting. I'm waiting for brother. Someone just sent me an email, so they want to hop on. Brother Mina J Bone Music. We're waiting for you to come on. I sent you the link. We'll give you a minute. Please hop on. You can ask the brother a question. But everyone, thank you so much for joining. Make sure you hit that like button as you come into the chat room. I will greatly appreciate it. Those who super chatted, thank you so much for super chatting. You know, I still have not been to Savannah, Georgia. I've been in Georgia on and off since 2000. I have not been to Savannah.
Yeah, you messed up. Now people comment, they be like, "Yo, Jamal, there's a lot here. We ain't realize." I say, "I know." So that way, yeah, you went to UGA, but I'm gonna let you know. We tell them this is Tiger territory, Tiger territory, Savannah State, baby, Savannah State, all day, forever and never. Amen.
Yeah, I know a couple of my frat brothers will go down to party, but I never made it down there. I don't know why.
Now I'm about to ask you, what fraternity are you in?
I'm a noob, the only fraternity. The only one that matters. The only one that matters.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you know what I do with people on my tours? I hit them about the diamond. People don't understand about the diamond. I tell folks, I said that for some African people, the diamond was a sign of God. I said some of us wear crosses on our necks. I said, guess what? I said for some African people, the diamond represents the sign of God, but also represents a principle: life, death, and rebirth. And when they look at it, they say, what? And I say, you see the cap of diamond? I said, guess what? Some of the nukes don't realize that, again, that's tied to Africa. I said, but the founders in 1911 were trying to connect it to Africa. I said, but what happened when some of y'all disconnect? You don't realize it. But yeah, so I just throw that out there. So yeah.
Okay. I just learned some new history. All right, brother. We're still waiting for you to come on. I sent the link. If you guys want to hop on, please send me an email. And then also be prompt in hopping on. I'll send you guys a link, and you guys don't hop on. Shout out to Zubri Ajamat. Have African Americans considered building Liberia now, since it's part of African American history? And do any look to repatriate there? Now, this is my thing. We built Liberia. So why aren't African Americans trying to reconnect to Liberia? I just don't understand. And then a lot, and then a lot of the consulates and the diplomats are Americos.
Yes. Well, you know, it's still tied to the fact that, well, that dislike, not knowing, and also what is tied to that people still have concern from what happened in the Civil War and other stuff like that. So again, we do some of the contemporary stuff, but it's still going back in time. But yes, we should definitely be identifying and should be embracing. That's the point I'm saying. It's not just Ghana. Some people think just going to Ghana. It's not just Ghana.
Everybody just focuses on Ghana. Like it's just Ghana. Like Ghana is the only country in Africa.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
Go ahead. You can finish your statement. Then the other brother.
Oh, no, I said, and so some people even go look. They say, look at Gambia. They say, look at Gambia. They said people who, because they have the concern about speaking English, but the language barriers. But then they go and look and say, hey, this is the place right here. And they look at Ghana, folks. But again, we need to look at whatever spots on the continent. You know, especially I'm saying African people. We look at any spot on the continent that we can enrich and become a part of. That's the beauty of us. We have the ability to choose any part of the continent if need be to work and build.
Go ahead, brother.
Hey, what's up, Donis? How you doing today, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, what's the other brother's name?
Brother Toure.
Hey, brother Toure, how you doing?
Doing excellent.
I wanted to know, hey, have you made any effort in, to try to learn any language back home?
You said, have I made any effort?
Yeah, like to go, like I mean, legitimately to like actually, like just learn the language, because that's like the that should be like the number one thing in terms of just like over here in the United States, if you want to go abroad, when you go abroad, your number one objective is to learn the language, interact with the people, so that way you can you can become one of them. You
Right.
know what I mean?
You heard were you on when I said that we got to know languages, make connections on languages? Did you hear when I said that?
Yeah, I heard you. That's why I wanted to.
Right. Also, yes. I'm saying yes. Well, I have not gotten fluent in it, but I have to go and say this: when I don't have people around me, I got folks. Yeah, I got cousins from Senegal, so a Wolof, and they be like, Jamal, we ain't gonna say that to you because you supposed to know that by now. I'll be like, I ain't got nobody around me, yo. And then the Haitians do the same thing about Creole. I'm like, yo, I ain't got nobody around me. So that's what happened. So yeah, but I don't fight that. I'm saying, but yes, actually, we believe in that. Now we believe it because I tell folks like, guess what? We were multilingual. That's our story. Yes,
like,
and so.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, not nothing. Right?
No, I was saying because I'm saying that's what it's about. Because again, I throw this out to folks. I said that our ancestors, even right here, even up until the 1900s, were multilingual. That some of them were speaking Vai, Ewe, they're speaking Bambara. They're right here. They effect. So again, they're right here doing it. But guess what? Our generation, our people, for some 80 years, disconnected from all of that. And that's why I said we got to get back to just what you're saying. We got to get back to that. And when we do that, we can understand some things. Because I tell folks, just to throw this out there, on the continent, we have symbols come from the continent talk about life, death, and rebirth. And I throw this out in my classes and on my tours. I said that you see these symbols right here. They're saying we are born, we die, and born again to eternal life. I said we say the same thing on the African continent, but we say in our own language, coming from Africa, but y'all call us heathens and pagans. And when I say that out to folks, they be like, "Oh, wow, I never thought about that." So that's what I'm saying, brother. It is right. When you know the language, you can make the connection. That's why I agree with you wholeheartedly. Yes.
I mean, that's like pretty much like one of the fastest ways to get. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna be selfish with you right now. So what's the language you speak? What language do you speak?
Hey, you know, Idi Amin, I speak the same language he speaks. No bullshit.
Creole?
No, I'm from East Africa. So if you know Idi Amin Dada.
Ah, okay. Yes, of course. Uganda. Yes. Yes. So now you're gonna send me information how we can connect. Then you can help me out. So yes.
Definitely. I mean that's why I agree. I agree with you when you mentioned like people back home in Africa. Honestly, like you can speak 10, 20 languages, no problem. Because
that's right.
No problem. When I got here, like that's not on my psyche kind of just like went down or something because back home, you know, I can speak, you know, like in like the, you know, I'm from Uganda, Sudan, Congo, you know, it's all neighboring each other. So like, you know, in Uganda, the main language is Luganda. And if you speak Luganda or Swahili or Arabic, you can get along well. Now, if you go into Sudan, if you speak Swahili, Arabic, little English, you're gonna go a long way. Same thing in Congo. So, like, if you go to if I go to Uganda right now, definitely you find people who are versatile in Swahili, Arabic, my native tongue, which is Kakwa, and some even speak English, and you know, some even speak the neighboring languages. But that's definitely something that like in Africa, even there's a lot of different languages. But if you study them very closely, there's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of
cultural unity. That's right. Yeah. She answered showed that. That's right.
Yeah, it's like I remember one time I used to work in a hotel, and it was this lady that came from Kenya. They came to visit they came for some kind of I think it was like a conference or whatever, and they were in front of me talking. I'm like, hold on, are these people from where I'm from? Because I was shocked until they mentioned they're from Kenya. I'm like, okay, this language sounds so similar because some of the stuff they were saying was just so similar, you know, and it was amazing about how you know, it's just like over here in the United States, you know, like the English language is like it's broken up to so many different meanings. It's kind of hard to like, you know, say something from the root because you know, like language is like a spell. So if you say something, you can speak that into fruition, and you know it's so filthy. Like when you listen to, you know, I'm a big fan of hip hop, but when you listen to hip hop and you hit the B word, the F word,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
there's a lot of derogatory, you know what I mean, just bad language that it affects you know, your whole existence. You know, I mean, a lot of us try to resist it, but you know, it's unfortunate. You know, we get hit with that.
But absolutely, brother, you're absolutely correct. Now I'm gonna say something like I gotta throw this out there. What you brought up, I'm gonna give you a historical episode that happened here in coastal Georgia. The last ship to bring captive Africans into Georgia came 1858, November 1858. They was called on a ship called the Wanderer. And when they got down, they took them to Jekyll Island, right here on the coast in Glenn County, Georgia. And so when they took them off, most of them were children. They were like adolescents. They were like teenagers. They take them off, and then they talk about how when they go, and they got them in November 1858 on Jekyll Island in Georgia, they said that there's an elderly African man who'd been put in captivity like years ago, some 5 decades ago. They said that he now goes up to the children. And they said, then he turned around, like, look at the Europeans. He like looking at them like, wait a minute. Y'all kidnapped me when I was a child. Now I realized that y'all had not kidnapped children from my own home some 50 years later. So what happened, he heard them kids talking. Nobody else understood, but he understood what the kids were saying. And that's why I tell him, I said, you can imagine what was going on with him now. He's crying now, like pretty much that, listen here, I've endured this country right here for some 50 years or better. And now I'm looking at children from our own ethnic family stolen and put here right now, 1858 in Georgia. So when you said that, you said you at the hotel, you heard the language, you like picked up on it. Same thing. That's why I was sitting there like, wow. That's just like with the Wanderer, with those young brothers and sisters that were taken there to Jekyll Island, stolen from Africa. Yes.
So in terms of you, you know, I was born as a Muslim, and you know, in my growing up, when I was growing up, I kind of transitioned to different, you know, like Christianity, because my family unfortunately died in South Sudan from the war. But
yes. So yeah, you Dinka? That's you Dinka, but yeah, okay.
I'm Kakwa. I told you.
I know. Yes.
Hey, but what I meant to say is like it's I even forgot my thought about what I meant to ask you. But yeah, I was talking about my religion. So when I transitioned from being a Muslim to Christianity, and then from Christianity to like, okay, forget about religion, because now I mean, because me, like right now, if somebody asks me, hey, what are you? I'll tell them I don't you know, God is not outside, God is within me. Based on like the experience that I experienced in this, you know, in this earth. Because if you look at you know, the time when I was a kid, you know, going to the mosque and you know, praying and stuff like that, it was beautiful. You know, it was beautiful based on just the practices and you know, the restrictions that it gave me as a person. And then when I came on to Christianity, it was mainly because the music was so good. You know, it moved my soul. Because you know, back home, you know, Africa, we love music. Music is a big thing. You know, weddings is gonna be music. Sundays is music.
Right. Yes, sir.
So music is everywhere. So, but my question to you is, because a lot of people think that, you know, God is somewhere in the sky, you know, or you have to die to go to heaven. There's no heaven out here. Like, what's your take in terms of like where you think God is? Because a lot of people think God is in the sky, and you have to die to go to heaven. And you ask the same people that, you know, say stuff like that, hey, is hell down here on earth? They'll say, yeah, hell is out here. And now I ask them the same question: is heaven out here? They'll say the same thing. But as you being as a Muslim, because I know you say you practice it right now, like so you believe when you die, that's when you're gonna go to heaven, or you believe you can make your heaven right here?
Well, actually, now come on now, I'm gonna say that, you know, we told get the our share of this world right here. So when they say get the dunya, I mean you get this right here. You get a state right here. You have your part of this world, because the Most High has given us our state to have our rights right here, to have a piece of this world right here. That's our God-given right. That's ordained by us. Then what we say, my stuff, well, I'm saying it ain't tied just to Islam. It goes back to ancient times. We know that we transition to the afterlife, to the afterworld. Now, what we gonna say? We ain't saying it's not. We're saying up in heaven. I mean, up in the skies. We know it's to another world, a transition. Because African spirituality, that's what we talk about. We know that. We know that it's the seen world and the unseen world. So we ain't got fretted. So that will we go with it. Oh, absolutely. So yes, we should have made this world right here, this physical world right here, as heavenly as possible, or as Jannah, as paradise as possible. Because we talk the paradise. So it's to be like that. That's why we fight to do what we can to make sure that everybody enjoys the benefits and fruits of this world right here. And that.
So my other question to you is, like, so if you look at like what's going on right now in terms of the globe, and the position of the black people and what's being done to them, and in terms of from other races, like what they're doing to the black people just based on either color or our peer existence. Because if you look at it, if they say the black man or black women with the first people here in the earth, that means everybody came from us, right?
That's right. So, absolutely. Yeah.
In essence, we closer to the creator, right? So
absolutely. Yes. I tell folks, I say that we're the first ones on this planet. We're the first ones to create the rituals to praise the Most High. Whatever name you use, we're the first ones to praise the Most High. So you don't let ladies come and tell you about religion or about religion. Spirituality is something different in my book. But you don't let somebody else come later than you. You don't let your child come and tell you about that. Because that was at the table of humanity, African people sit at the table of humanity at the head of the table. African man and woman. Everybody else is our children. This is what they not learn from us because we're the first one to create it. But what has happened, they have changed the narratives around, so we don't even realize that. So we don't embrace it. So just like you said, you individually understand that God, the creator within you, that's tradition. That ain't nothing wrong with that. So anybody got any understanding who say they really believe and they got spirituality, they can go along with you on that. And whatever you say after that, ain't no sweat because that's your walk. I can't tell you what your walk should be. I can just tell you what my walk is and how I want to uplift it. So we all do that to one another, trying to inspire. We trying to bring heaven on earth. And so then we go to the afterlife, we right there. Even we talk about Maya, we talk about the feathers. Is your heart lighter than a feather right now? And some people. People say, no. I say, because again, that's what's supposed to happen. Your life will be lighter than a feather. And so let's function like that. And then what we're going to do, that it just ain't about you, it's about all of us. I tell folks, ain't about ego, it's we go. Not ego, we go. And guess what? When we go, we all make it. And I tell folks, when I see you, I see me. And because I love me, I love you. And then when I see you, I know for a fact that we got something that's in common that nobody else can go and say to us because we're the first ones on the planet. We are descendants of those people right there. And that's the beautiful thing right there. And when you love yourself, you make sure it's going to be passed on. And if you see something happening that is not good for your people, then you stand up to make sure you protect your people. Because that's, again, part of that love. That's part of that we go.
So would it be right to just say, because there's a lot of people out here today that, like, I know Dinus, or you yourself, there's a lot of people, we try, you try to wake up to realize that, hey, you are African or this is the right path. But, like, when is the draw line, to say, you know what, I'm done with you. This is the line right here. If you going to come in or you stay where you are. And if you want to, follow my master, go ahead and follow master and keep doing what, when as like black people in general, when do you think is the best time to, like, because I have a lot of people, I drawn the line to, but I'm beginning to realize a lot of people are not, a lot of black people, I'll say globally, they're beginning to realize, like, some of us who are, selling our interests for their own gain. And I see black people are waking up to that now. And so, like, what should we do in terms of, like, just coming up with a solution? Whether it be, because I know I was talking to one of my brothers, he's, African American. He wants to go to Africa. But I don't know how Donis, hey, Donis, how do you, like, what attracted you to Africa? Because, like, I don't know how to convince him, because I'll tell him, hey, Africa's good. I have my contacts down there. I have my brother, my cousin, and blah blah blah. If you want to go to this part of the country, I can call this person for you. So that way, when you go over there, you're welcomed and stuff like that. But at the same time, they're still hesitant. So my question to you is like, how did you took that? Like, what gave you that hunch to, just, go out there, get a ticket and fly?
It was it was a close friend of mine convinced me to go back in 2011. He told me to go to Tanzania. He just convinced me. He said, Dinus, just go. Trust me. It's going to change your life. Trust me. Just go. And I went, and it changed my life.
So you went to Tanzania first?
I went to Tanzania first.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a friend of mine who went before me, and he was like, man, you got to go. I'm like, all right, I'll go.
And I know you Nigerian, so I don't know. Have you started learning your language?
I'm working on. I'm actually speaking in the chat room right now.
There you go. See,
yeah.
that's what I'm talking about.
And what's your ethnic family?
Yoruba.
Who, me?
Okay. Yoruba. Okay. All right. No, but you threw something up. I'm throwing it out there. Throw it out there to you because you threw it out here. You said when do we say we cut the line with regards to people? I say it's case by case. Case by case. You know, it might be that brother, that sister that you might be sharing information with, and they might not be feeling that and other stuff like that, but it's case by case, and they may still go and do some things that may not necessarily be positive, it may be negative, but case by case, but you ultimately get to a point where you say, hey, I can't continue to beat my head against the wall. Because I let you know, I used to do counseling for people who had substance abuse issues, mental health issues, and then someone I tell them, like, listen here, you're going to follow my way or you're going to die. And I tell them like this, you're going to die. Because I say, my job is to try to help you. And so I'm going to give you the tools that help you. But then if you finally get to a point where you like, hey, it's cut, they ain't doing nothing, right? Okay, I cannot take myself out with regard to that because I got to help some other people. Because, again, there going to be some other people out there who you can still plant those seeds with. Again, like I say, it's case by case with regard to that. So, yes, some people may continue to reject and may not want to be a part of, but you can find those others who come along that you can just plant those seeds with. They're going to be about making that change.
And also, another thing that I realized, like, growing up from Africa and just having that family structure, one of the things that I know is that shapes just your human, I say your psychology, how you grow up and how you see the world. Another thing is like when in my family, once you reach a certain age, you gonna get married, but before you get married, your mom or your dad, if you come together, they'll give you a land. Say, hey, this is your land right here. And they'll measure the land for you. This is your land. You can plow it, plant whatever you want to plant, build your home right there. We right here, we're gonna build our side. And so in terms of like when you think like a king, you will feel like a king because right here, you see a lot of us, we live here with no land. You constantly on like a lot of us live in a constant fear. You got rent you got to pay. You have car note you have to pay. You have food. Some of us get into trouble. You got the law on you. If you don't pay them, they're harassing you. So a lot of people are dealing with constant fear because I guess it's the part of the capitalistic world that we live in.
The American dream, part of the American dream.
And you know what that is because what we call in the content, like that's why our museum at Geechee is called. I mean, that's what it's called. Geechee Kunda. Kunda means compound, family compound, and it's a Sarakale word. Again, it means family compound, and that's what the part of. That's how you build family. That's how you build wealth, and that's what something that happened in Savannah, 1800s. Something called 40 acres and a mule. The meeting turned in Savannah, Georgia.
Ask that. So can we talk about that story? Because I know we were actually some brothers were given it, then it was taken away. Can you build on that?
Right. What happened here when Sherman arrived in Savannah on December 24th, 1864, he would have a meeting with 20 black ministers here in the city of Savannah. And so the 20 black ministers, when they met together, they said only one would speak for all of us. They said, again, only one would speak for all of us. They got Reverend Garrison Frazier from First Bryan Baptist Church to speak on behalf of all of them. And so what occurred, Frazier then asked them pretty much, I'm breaking it down, paraphrasing, he asked them, what does the Civil War represent to you and your people? And Reverend Frazier said, how can you expect a man who's gotten wealthy off of us to treat us as equals? He said, it's going to take years to correct. And he said, we got to have land. We got to have land so the old men will work it, The women were working and the children were working. He said the young men were sitting fighting the war. And he said that we'll be able to take care of ourselves. So Sherman then asked all the other ministers, he said, do you agree with them? And so one of them, only one said he didn't agree, but he wasn't from this area. Everybody else said, yeah, I do agree with him. So they were saying we need to have our own so we can take care of ourselves. And when I say, they say take care of themselves, they can survive, they can live, they can have autonomy over their families, over their lives, and also have businesses to take care of themselves because of agriculture right here, business. Sherman then goes and issues something known as Special Field Order Number 15, better known as 40 Acres and a Mule. He said that all the abandoned rice plantations on the islands going 30 miles inland from Charleston County, South Carolina, down to the St. Johns River in Florida shall belong to the Africans. So this part of the corridor one time became known as Sherman's Reservation. So black folks here started setting their own governments, in fact, their own societies. They had their own school systems. They had their own governments. They had their own militias. So that's what occurred. But when Lincoln is assassinated, Andrew Johnson then says, give them back the property, give back the plantation owners back their property. What occurred here, you had something in Savannah, for example, you had something called the Yamacoa Rebellion, the Louisville Rebellion, and the Geechee Rebellion, where black folks here were saying, no, remember I talked earlier about the sweat equity? Some of my ancestors say, my sweat equity entitles me to this land right here. We're not giving it up. And in fact, some of them had booby-trapped the bridges to make sure that the soldiers couldn't come over. Eventually, they were able to get them off the property because what they did, they realized and they said, you know what, we've been sending these Caucasian soldiers to not get them off the property. They said, we're going to send those black soldiers now to get them off the property. And that's when they now say this right here, our answer, they said that we are not going to fight them because they had gone through the same thing that we've experienced too, the loss of family members. So what happened, they left off the properties here in this area, but what occurred, people don't understand the science behind all of this. What occurred for some of our ancestors, guess what happened? As opposed to not going to do the landowners, with the government, they now went to the landowners directly and started buying property from some of them. Or they went to the tax auctions and began buying property. That's why my family on Hilton and Island, we got land to go back to the 1800s, done by my great-great-grandfather. So many of us in this area, that's what happened. So people talk 40 acres and a mule, that they reneged on it. I tell folks, guess what? No, it ain't. Some of our ancestors still got the property because they had to go, again, come up with another solution. They give you a problem, you figure a way around it, through it, or underneath it, or over it. That's what they did. Only the ones who didn't figure out the solution didn't get the property again. And so that's why people understood in general, this war about, the Civil War was not just about freedom, it's about land. Because you know why land is important, but you know on the continent, it's about you having family. It's about you having autonomy. You have that peace right there. You have that world. You are that king. You are that queen right there. So that's why Gullah Geechee areas, that's why they want the property, because some of us have still had the property since the 1800s in our hands. But some of us now have lost it because of all the chicanery, all the lies, all the deceit, and some of us being stupid. Yes.
And you know, so one of the things that the African American here that is real good. It's like one thing is you guys have the knowledge. One is the knowledge to see from a global perspective. Even though a lot of us, a lot of African Americans don't travel as much. But in terms of like, access, you have the access, you have the knowledge, and also I know there's a little struggle there in terms of connecting the dots with the motherland. It's still there, because a lot of us, sometimes we're ignorant. So I see that that the importance of I think Africa, definitely for Africa to become the Africa needs to be, it needs the African American. Because African, like you see a lot of Africans, you might be mad at them, but they don't know much about the American struggle. A lot about the African Americans here in the diaspora. They don't know anything about that, really. There's only few that know. Right now with the social media being such a big boom, a lot of people are being exposed to a lot of things that have been happening, around here, in the United States or out there in England, and that's really shaping, that a lot of the new generation that is coming up, and I advise anybody who lives here in the United States to try to go back home and connect, somebody and like I know a lot of Africans don't like, they don't want to be African, because I see a lot of some of my brothers and sisters, they be using that cream a lot. Today I was with one of my brothers. I known him for a long time, and he come to the store a lot, and I saw him, I asked him, because I noticed that he kept getting lighter and lighter, and I asked him like, hey man, what's up, man? Are you bleaching? Are you Adonis, you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Oh, I think the other brother, he might have disconnected, right?
No, we're here. Yeah, go ahead.
My phone overheated. That's what it says overheat. We got so much time going on.
I was gonna say what we'll do after the brother makes this comment. You can respond, then we'll go ahead and close out.
All right. Well, I mean, yeah, definitely, bro. The only thing I was gonna say is just definitely, it's for anybody who live here in the United States to try to connect like Donis is doing, and yeah.
Cool. Brother Toure, do you wanna respond? He was speaking on his friend was skin bleaching. Hello? Did we lose the brother?
I think we did because since he had, I definitely wanted to hear what he has to say about that too, because yeah, I don't know. I think it's I don't know what the deal is, because a lot of us want to look white, man. And I don't know if that's a psychological issue or just being influenced by social media. But yeah, when I asked him that, he denied it. But what can I say?
I'm just shocked that people are still bleaching in 2019. That's what I'm shocked about.
Oh no, it's like booming, because I don't know why it's booming, because I guess people are still using it, and it's being pushed down on people.
Mm-hmm.
I saw in the comment like Nigeria's heavy on that. They really heavy in using the cream, but I don't know, like, if that's something that anybody can, if we collectively can counteract that.
Yeah. So we'll let brother Toure respond, then we'll close out. Brother Toure, skin bleaching. What are your thoughts on that? And then we'll close out.
Well, actually, I tell you this. I have my other phone, because I got more than one phone. So yeah, I'm good on that. But skin bleaching, that's absolutely tied to self-hatred, and it's tied to self-hatred. But it's given to us to make it glamorous, like we're glamorizing it. And so again, but it's still tied to basic causing people to be denatured from who they are, taken away from who they are, taken them from their power, taken away from their beauty of who they are. Because again, I gotta make sure that you dislike yourself, and that you do it to a point that you're not passing on to other people, and that you become a standard bearer for that self-hatred. And that's what it's about. Absolutely problematic for us. And that we see it. Because again, they try to make sure the standards of beauty are other people's standards of beauty, when it's not your standard of beauty. When you are actually the epitome of beauty. The epitome of intelligence, yes.
All right, so brother, we really appreciate you coming on. Let me plug my computer back in before it goes dead. But brother Toure, we appreciate you coming on. Please give everybody your contact information, how they can reach you. I know you do the tours in Savannah. I'm coming down there soon. How can people reach you if they're interested in the tours or just getting in contact with you?
Telephone number is 912-220-5966. 5966 with 24 hours. One of the fastest way to get in touch with us, text us, no problem. Another number is 912-257-0078. We are on Instagram under Day Clean Soul. Day Clean Soul. That's DayCleanSoul. Day Clean Soul. So you can contact us via Facebook. Also, Amir Toure. Amir is Amir Toure, Toure. I got two of them on Facebook, so you need to friend both of them, because I put a lot of information out. We put a lot of information out there. And also Facebook also have a Day Clean Soul on Facebook also, and Day Clean Journeys on Facebook also. That's our tour company specifically Facebook page. So again, hit us up, and email address, just throw that out there.
Go ahead.
That's DayCleanHi@yahoo.com. So yeah, we 24/7. Hit us up anytime.
All right, perfect. Everyone, we appreciate you guys for joining us. Make sure you hit that like button as you exit. Also subscribe if you're new to the platform. Make sure you go to search for Uhuru on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Again, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Till next time, family. Dynasty Amir, Search for Uhuru. Peace.
Peace and blessings.
Peace. Thank you. Thank you.